want to start today's deep dive with a concept called administrative invisibility. It sounds a bit dry, I know, but picture a computer glitch, so quiet, so subtle, that for 40 years it effectively erased the legal history of a population the size of a mid-sized city.
Yeah, and we aren't talking about a sci-fi novel here. We're talking about Los Angeles.
Right.
It's a staggering situation, honestly. As of yesterday, February 24th, 2026, the Los Angeles Superior Court disclosed this massive systemic failure. Basically, 464,000 criminal case outcomes were just never reported to the California Department of Justice.
That is nearly 500,000 cases. So our mission today is to really unpack this source material. We aren't just looking at a computer bug. We are looking at how a legacy system created a legal limbo for over 400,000 people. I mean, how does something this huge go unnoticed for 4 decades?
Well, it starts with what we call technical debt. The culprit here was the Trial Court Information System, or TCIS. This was a mainframe system installed way back in the early 1980s.
Which in the tech world is essentially the Stone Age.
Exactly. And the glitch itself was a silent failure in the batch processing logic. Basically, the system was supposed to trigger an arrest disposition report to the state DOJ whenever a case was closed. But due to a lack of technical programming, specific categories of cases just didn't trigger.
So there was no error message? No flashing red light?
Nothing. The system just failed to send the mail millions of times over.
And nobody checked.
That's the part that is really scary. This wasn't found through a routine audit. It was only discovered accidentally. The court finished a massive modernization project in November 2023, effectively moving from the Stone Age to the modern era. When they tried to migrate the old data to the new system,
The numbers simply didn't match.
Right. They just didn't line up.
Okay, let's talk about the human costs here for you listening, because data migration error sounds so dry, but the implications are wild. We have 2 main groups of people affected here, right?
Yes. First, you have the convictions. About 81% of these unreported cases, roughly 380,000 of them, were convictions. That includes 147,000 felonies.
So for decades, you had 147,000 people with felony convictions who potentially passed state background checks just because their records looked clean to the DOJ.
Precisely. That is a massive public safety blind spot. But then you have the other 18%, the 84,000 dismissals. These are people who were charged, went to court, and had their cases dismissed. They were legally innocent.
But because the mainframe didn't tell the DOJ.
To the outside world, those cases look like open arrests indefinitely. The system never actually said case closed.
So imagine you are applying for a job or an apartment, and the background check comes back saying you have an active, unresolved criminal case from 1995. You get denied, and you have absolutely no idea why because you know the case was dismissed.
It's a nightmare scenario. And just to make things more complicated, this data dump is happening right in the middle of another legal storm. We have to connect this to the Hamrick decision.
Right. That was the ruling that removed date of birth as a search criteria in court indexes to protect privacy.
Correct. So verifying someone's identity in court records is harder than ever now, and we are dumping 464,000 old records into this exact system. We're facing an identifiers gap.
Meaning employers will see a surge of records popping up, but without dates of birth, they won't know if the John Smith with the newly reported 1989 felony is the John Smith applying for their job.
Exactly. Expect a massive surge in false positive and stalled hiring.
It really feels like the infrastructure of justice is just crumbling here. And the report mentions this isn't isolated, right?
No, it is a broader decay. We're also seeing a verbatim record shortage. Over 525,000 hearings in family and probate court had no court reporter.
That means no transcript. If you want to appeal a decision about child custody, there is literally no record of what was said.
None at all.
It is terrifying to think about. So where do we stand now? Is there a fix?
The court is manually fixing this by sending the data to the DOJ. But about 10% of these cases require human review, which could take years to fully resolve.
Years. Well, here is something for you to think about as you go about your day. We often think of justice as a set of laws and judges. But really, justice is memory. It is the record of what happened. If the judicial record is the memory of justice, what happens when the memory fails? We know about the Los Angeles glitch now, but it makes you wonder how many other 1980s mainframes are silently failing in courthouses across the country right now.
And whose lives are being erased by them? That is the question we should all be asking.